Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Brian Woods. I am the music director for classical programming that takes place here at the World Chess Hall of Fame and Galleries, and I am so excited to welcome you to this pre-concert chat featuring our wonderful guest artists we have here from out of town. I am joined on stage by cellist Zlatomir Fung, as well as cellist and composer Quenton Blache. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it. So, Zlatomir, I'm going to start with you because your name's on the program, so might as well, right? We met, we met a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember meeting me. We met in Toronto a couple years ago. I was turning pages for a concert that you played at. Yes.
Oh, you were
surprised.
The page turner.
That was me.
Oh gosh.
But when we really got to chatting the first time was last October when you were here for another concert. Yes. And you played a wonderful concert at WashU. I'm so sorry to embarrass you. You played a wonderful concert at WashU, and we went out to dinner afterwards, and you were talking about how much you love chess. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I run a music series at a place involving chess, and I'm always looking for interesting performers to bring in. And part of my role, I have a bit of an artist in residence role that involves commissioning music. So you came to me with a bit of a proposal, and sort of the rest is history in terms of bringing in Quenton and yourself to play this concert. But I was excited to bring you in anyway because I know you and I know you're playing. But I'm curious, as someone of your pedigree, being this competition winner of the Tchaikovsky competition and playing all over the world, how has chess always featured into that? I mean, has it always been a love of yours, or has it been something that sort of snuck in terms of your music and those relationships?
Well, I've been a recovering chess addict since I was 12 years old, and when I first discovered online blitz chess. And so it's a huge honor to be here, and thank you so much to all of you for coming. And actually, it's a funny story because Quenton and I actually met through chess, even though we're both cellists. I think it was a mutual friend who suggested that we try to play some games against each other. Yes. This was during the pandemic, so we were presumably, I think, both playing a lot more chess than normal. Yeah,
it's like we hadn't met in person some years after, or like a year after actually when we first met online. On Zoom. So.
Yeah. So yeah, chess has been a big part of our lives, and it's always there for us when we want to decompress after a concert, and we're going to play some tonight after the concert. So.
Well, and they're being very modest. I didn't know this until last night that they're actually both decently rated as chess players. And it's one of those things where I get asked all the time when I run this series, what does music have to do with chess? And I have a bit of a boilerplate answer that I use, and a lot of it has to do with, that idea of creativity within structure. And there's only so many moves in a chess game, but every game is completely different. And the same thing with live performances, that there is always something different. Even if you've heard a piece a million times, it will be different because every performance is different. And so there is that overlap. And you find with a lot of grandmasters that I've been very fortunate to be close to working here, that they're often big music fans because they understand that relationship of, that sort of performance aspect of every time it's going to be different. So I'm curious, I had met Zlatomir before. Quenton, we met for the first time this week when you've been here. And you're based in LA. You work in sort of the freelancer, sort of Hollywood recording for soundtracks and whatnot. But you're also this wonderful composer. And, how long have you been composing? And I'm curious how that relates to your cello playing and all that.
Yeah, so, for the longest time, I had considered myself a cellist first. It was the first thing that I started did piano when I was 4 or 5 years old, and then I played violin for a little bit when I was like 8. And the only reason I switched to cello was because there was one cellist in the elementary school orchestra who was graduating on to middle school. And so we weren't going to have a cellist the next year. So the orchestra teacher just asked, would you want to try out the cello? And I guess the rest was history. So I really fell in love with the instrument. And, throughout this time, I remember I jotted down little things. I would doodle around with, our family piano at home, but I guess I didn't really take composition seriously until I was like 14, which it's weird to say seriously when you're 14 years old, but I really started actually, writing like string trios and stuff. One of my favorite combos was violin, viola, and cello, and I would just always write. Like I wrote like 3 of these trios, and I think that just kickstarted my love for composition. I think as you're playing a lot of music, you get this inkling to want to play something that you wrote yourself. So I think that's kind of what jump-started that. And yeah, and I went to school, went to USC out in LA for cello performance and composition. I did a double, and then I graduated from the master's program in screen scoring at USC. So like music for film, television, and video games. And so so it's kind of like been a 3-pronged career in the world of concert composition, screen scoring, so like music film, and concert cello. So it's amazing to be able to be here and to mesh all of my loves and include chess, which is also a huge love, into this. So it's really kind of a dream come true to be here. So
well, it's been a fun week. You guys have been like kids in a candy store, truly. I mean, I knew you guys liked chess, but to the point where you guys were just so happy to be around it in such a way. Which has been really exciting for me because I am not much of a player of chess. And so when I program things on the series, I do the best I can to unite music and chess sort of in a theoretical way. But to have you guys be here and to have such a practical experience with chess, that you play it a lot and you love it and you know the inner workings of it all, which brings me to the program itself. There's so much unique music on the program tonight in more ways than one. But Quenton, I'm curious about both your pieces that open the program. We're going to have one that's maybe a little more tongue-in-cheek, and then one that's perhaps a bit more along the lines of concert music that we're used to hearing. So tell us a little bit about the music we're going to hear, because I think we're all interested.
Yes. Okay. So I'll start with the tongue-in-cheek piece, as you said. You might see some cups, plastic cups, over there in the table. Who knew that a concept piece that I wrote as an assignment for my freshman year composition class would be premiered at the World Chess Hall of Fame? I basically revised this to imitate a bullet chess game, so like a really fast, minute-long chess game between myself and Zlatomir. Actually, we play a lot online, and especially during the pandemic. And so I took one of the games we played, and I mapped out the exact rhythms of that bullet game and infused it into cup percussion. So it's going to be a little fun, little brief piece that hopefully you all will enjoy. And yeah, it's I think we had a really fun time practicing this, and just the way that the end, for an example, it gets a little chaotic, as if we're super low on time. We have like seconds left to finish the game, and so we're just going back and forth, and it's chaos. So yeah, there's some fun moments in there that I hope you enjoy. So yeah.
And then this duet piece that you wrote for the two of you.
Yes. And then the duet piece, more standard with actual instruments, with 2 cellos, and it's a 3-movement work, and it's comprised of the 3 most popular chess openings. The first movement is called E4, so like pawn E4, king's pawn opening is I think like the number 1 most popular in like the database, the Grandmaster database. And then movement 2 is D4, which is the Queen's Pawn opening. And then movement 3 is Knight F3, which is, funny enough, actually in chess, it's kind of a mesh between the King's Pawn systems and the Queen's Pawn systems. So I thought it was like the perfect kind of third movement that combines motifs from the first movement of E4 and the second movement of D4. So not to like nerd out a little bit, but that was that's sort of the crux of the piece. So I feel like with each of these opening moves, it's almost like the more you play these, you feel like you're in like a world per like different opening. So the King's Pawn opening, there's this set of variations that you study, and then the Queen's Pawn opening is perhaps more of a positional game, and Knight F3 kind of combines all of these things. So that's the foundation of the work.
It's really beautiful music. I heard them rehearsing it earlier, so you have a lot to look forward to. The one thing that struck me about the program that I really enjoyed was just how collaborative it was. Zlatomir, you play a lot of solo music. You do concertos with orchestras, you do recitals, so that's definitely a part of your life. But it seems like you strike me as a very collaboratively minded musician in terms of so much of the program tonight was thought of with other people playing with you. You wrote me and you're like, I'd love to have people come and do this with me and do that with me. Is that always part of your mindset when you're programming and performing, or is that something that you've kind of come to learn to enjoy, or how does that work for you?
Well, when I was thinking of curating the program for this concert, I was thinking about the relationship to chess. And one of the things about chess is that you can't play a chess game alone. Every chess game is a collaborative enterprise with another person. And so kind of the core of this idea was that every piece features two cellos. So we have, of course, Quenton's first piece, which is not for two cellos, but two cups. Two cellists using cups, then his actual work for two cellos, and then the third and fourth movements of the Suite for two cellos and piano by Giancarlo Menotti, which I think all of you will enjoy very much. It's a very beautiful and then very exciting piece. And then finally, the sort of meat and potatoes of the program, which is the wonderful classic work, the String Quartet No. 2 by Anton Arensky, which has this very, very unusual instrumentation of violin, viola, and two cellos, as opposed to the normal instrumentation of a string quartet, which is two violins, viola, and cello. So this two cello sonority is very rich, and it kind of just gives us a great opportunity to work together in yet another context to sort of speak to that collaborative chess-like relationship.
Well, I mean, it's not every day you hear a program with this much two cellos on it, which is a great thing. And, I was new to much of this music, and it was really astonishing to me just the sound of it all, in terms of just how much of a difference it makes to have that extra instrument involved. The nerdy moments about these pieces, the Menotti was written, I think it was written for a festival, just for Tchaikovsky and some friends at a festival. And it's funny because, I guess I joined the band for about a few minutes tonight to play with them on this Menotti. And it's interesting, just you can hear Menotti being an opera composer, how prevalent that is throughout the piece. But again, that idea of collaboration in terms of a genre that we don't necessarily know him for in this chamber piece, and yet he's bringing that sort of dramatic flair to the music. And same with the Arensky, this is in the grand tradition of people writing pieces after someone they love, passed away. But it was the beauty of the music in terms of hearing that I think that what I'm most proud of is the collaboration with the instrumentalists that you guys are playing with. We have Aaron Schreiber and Laura Raycraft are playing with you guys tonight, and I was really encouraged by just how excited the two of them were to be a part of the project. And it's really something that a lot of us musicians learn throughout our careers, is that it's, you sort of make opportunities for yourself, but it's even better to make opportunities for others and to give others opportunities to play and hear them play. So, what you guys are used to this in terms of rehearsing something quickly and putting it together, but it's a huge piece, this Arensky, and what is that like, kind of jumping into a new situation and putting that together with musicians that maybe you've played with Aaron before, but perhaps playing with this group for the first time? Like, how quickly did it come together?
Well, I mean, it's been a thrilling couple of days. We just met on Tuesday, and we had a couple of rehearsals, and I mean, I'm so appreciative how professional everyone is, so it really made the process very, very enjoyable. And do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would agree. Of course, the only thing that I kind of knew coming here was Zlatomir and the St. Louis Chess Club, having watched all these tournaments on my computer and iPad and whatnot. So, but essentially to be here and to meet Aaron and Laura and Brian, of course, to play in Menotti, and it's really special. LA is great. It feels like a bubble over there, but it's so nice to actually be to visit St. Louis, and it's been very, very great, and it's been very welcoming. So
it's been a great week, really. It has been. I'm up here with two wonderful artists. Do you guys have any questions for them before I let them go away for a few minutes before the concert? None. They've expressed themselves so eloquently. There's no questions to be had. Well, you guys are in for, I think, potentially our most unique program we've had this year. I mean, really, between hearing Quenton's pieces, these are world premieres, first time being heard, and I can tell you they're really thrilling, really exciting. The Menotti is just a lot of fun, and then the Arensky is just so gorgeous, so beautiful. So you have so much to look forward to, and I appreciate you all being here. Do you have a question? Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, which instrument are you playing tonight, Zlatomir? Yeah.
So tonight I'm playing on it's a very fine Italian instrument made in Venice, circa 1730, by Domenico Montagnana, who was one of the great cello makers of the 18th century. And it's on loan to me very generously from a private family foundation.
And I guess I'll have to brag on you for your competition win, but Zlatomir won the International Tchaikovsky Competition in 2019, which is, for those who are unaware, the Olympics of classical music. So, and you were, I think, the youngest cellist to have won? Yeah, you're the youngest cellist to have ever won the Tchaikovsky Competition, and he is now teaching on faculty at Juilliard as well. So that's very big accomplishments very early on for you, and we're happy to have you here. We're lucky to have you here. So you guys are in for a treat tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll be back right at 7. Thank you. Welcome, my name is Brian Woods. I am the music director for all the classical programming here at the World Chess Hall of Fame and Galleries. It is my pleasure to welcome you to another packed concert here. It's been a wonderful year of concerts, and it's thanks to all of you for continuing to come to every concert. Thanks to you, we've sold out every single classical concert this year, so it's really exciting. We're so appreciative of you. I would, of course, be remiss if I did not thank Dr. Jeannie and Rex Singfield for the support of this series. We're also grateful to the Missouri Arts Council for their support. Do check out all of the exhibits we have going on now at the World Chess Hall of Fame and Galleries. Our first floor, Charles Hauska. Second floor is the Chess and Literature exhibit. And on this third floor, when it's not a concert space, we have Chess Variants, which is all about chess over the course of history and the many forms that it has taken. So much to enjoy here. I also have a very big announcement for you all tonight, which is season tickets are now available for 2026. So you can stop bothering me. But yes, they are. You can head down to the front desk after this concert and inquire about season tickets. We'll be updating all of the names of the concerts on the website post-haste. So it will be available for you all to see. I know these last year, they went out in like a day. They sold out very quickly. So do not sit around and wait to get these season tickets. They're going to go very quickly. So I encourage you to do that ASAP. Thank you all again for being here. Thank you to our season ticket holders for 2025. It's been a pleasure to have you at so many of these concerts. And this concert is certainly a special one. It's been over 18 months in the making, about 2 years of collaborating and working together with Zlatomir to put together a really excellent concert that is a real celebration of music and chess and just how they could not go better together. So everyone, please put your hands together and join me in welcoming our two special guests for tonight, Zlatomir Fung and Quenton Blache.
Zlatomir, and the first piece is a little unique one. We are essentially imitating a bullet game, a bullet chess game, really fast chess game that we had played online, and I think it's a little fun piece, so I hope you enjoy. See if you can guess who wins at the end.
so much to all of you for joining us. We're just going to do a little relay race with the talking because we both have cellos to bring on stage. It's such a pleasure to work with Quenton on that, and of course on his next piece, which you'll hear him talk about a little bit. I was really thrilled when I had the opportunity to present the idea for this concert to Brian Woods. And I've been a passionate chess fan all my life. I started playing when I was 5. And one of the things that I feel is so amazing about chess is that it's always a shared experience. When you play a game with someone else, you are in that same psychic space in the throes of battle. And being a musician, it often feels that way when we're collaborating with people in chamber music. So I think there's a real connection there. And so this program is kind of a celebration of the friendship that I have with Quenton. We actually met through chess, even though we're both cellists. And every piece features in some way or another 2 cellos quite prominently. So we'll first hear Quenton's world premiere. Thank you so much to World Chess Hall of Fame for helping to commission this work. And then the final 2 movements of the suite for 2 cellos and piano by Giancarlo Menotti. That piece is wonderful, and you'll hear in that work there's a lot of back and forth where one cello will take a melodic idea or a rhythmic idea and then pass it on to the next one, so it's very much like taking turns in chess. And then finally the Arensky Quartet number 2, which features 2 cellos, violin, and viola. So, okay, I'm going to go get my cello.
So I can talk a little bit about this next work. So these are chess miniatures. I'm not sure if Zlatomir said, but we're both avid chess players, recovering addicts, if you will. And this set of pieces, it's comprised of 3 movements, and these 3 movements. They are essentially the top 3 most common openings as white in chess. So the first movement is called e4, so like the king's pawn. And with each of these openings, I feel like you're sort of in different worlds because there's so many different variations you have to learn and study and analyze. And so first movement is king's pawn. And then the second movement is d4, which is the queen's pawn opening. Which I feel like is more of a positional game, and so there's another world that belongs with that. And then the third movement is called knight of 3, which is essentially a mix of both the king's pawn, which is first movement, and the queen's pawn, which is second movement, which I feel like is a nice fitting third movement, combining the motifs from the prior ones. So I hope you enjoy chess miniatures. Thanks.
guess I'll talk again for a second while we get ready for the quartet. Thank you all so much. What a fun piece, right? I mean, it's just really energetic. I had no idea that piece existed before putting on this concert, so that's always a lot of fun with inviting guest artists like these, is that we can learn about new music and get to play music that I had not experienced before, which is fantastic. The next piece on the program is the incredible second string quartet of Anton Arensky. Arensky was a Russian composer, teaching in the Moscow Conservatory, similar time as a lot of early sort of, or I guess, late 19th century composers. And there was a bit of a tradition when a mentor that you really loved and adored passed away, that you would write a very large piece commemorating them. A really famous example of this is Tchaikovsky's piano trio in A minor is dedicated to Anton Rubinstein, who had passed away. It was in memory of a great artist. So it's a really popular thing that they did. So in turn, when Tchaikovsky himself passed away, Arensky, who was a colleague of his, decided to write this string quartet in his honor. So you'll see that in the second movement, it is a set of variations on a theme by Tchaikovsky. Obviously, the unique instrumentation of this piece is very cool, that we have two cellos this time instead of the normal string quartet arrangement of two violins, one viola, and one cello. So there's a lot of bass and a lot of warmth to this piece. And we could not have found two more wonderful collaborators to put together with Zlatomir and Quenton for this piece. Were you guys going to go out first or come out together, or am I just call them out? Okay. I told them you would do that, so I didn't want that. So they'll be back in just a second. I know, I made them leave. It's all about me, guys. We know that, right? Like that's, I don't know, I'm just joking. But it's been a really wonderful experience having Zlatomir and Quenton here this week. They could not have been more easygoing collaborators, and the wonderful musicians that they're working with tonight are also the most wonderful collaborators and could not have been easier to work with. So it's just been a dream for me to just sort of let this happen and watch it unfold. And we're very grateful to the Singfields and everyone here at the World Chess Hall of Fame for making this possible. So without further ado, I think we'll get started. So everyone, please join me in welcoming back Zlatomir and Quenton, as well as Aaron Schreiber and Laura Raycraft.
Thank you.